that he can split open seas and cause hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to walk across without getting any mud nor any dirt on them. And then use the same sea to close up and drown those who are rather presumptuous into thinking that they can impose their itinerary and invade in territory that is reserved to convey you to a greater and better reality, and think that all they got to do is walk down the same paths and they're going to get the same results. Because he am, because he am. See, that same sea, he'll close it up and tell you to sing about it. Oh, I wish I had somebody here. He said, you better not even be sad about it. Write a song about it. Matter of fact, I ain't even going to trust those of you who are not leaders and theologians, those of you who are just caught up into pop culture. He said, I ain't even trusting you with the revelation. I trust it to my leader who's been with me and who understands me and who's committed to my mindset and who's not just looking for a paycheck, who's not just looking for applause, who's not just looking for the next hit, who's not just looking for a hook. But you ask him, he'll tell you the horse and rider he has drowned within the sea. Can I get a witness here? Because that's his reputation. Can I get a witness? I mean, his reputation, that if you got to go down in the fire, if they throw you in the fire because of your commitment to my name, I'll put you on fire before you get in the fire. Because there are times where you got to fight fire with fire. And because my name is at stake, my reputation is that you can go in the fire and the fire that is in you will preserve you and keep you away from the fire that has been started by others. He's got a reputation. The Hebrew boys will tell you that if you throw us in the fire, doesn't matter. He's still God. And even if he doesn't deliver us from the fire, he'll deliver us from your hand, O king. And we still will not bow. Oh, if we could get some people with that kind of resolve. Then understand that his reputation is, though I go through the fire, I still will not bow. His reputation. David says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. He says, I will fear no evil. There is the revelation that this is a matter of choice. He says, I choose not to be afraid. Talk to me here, somebody. This ain't no, I mean, this don't just happen by accident. He said, listen here, I choose not to be afraid because I wasn't afraid before I went in the valley. I didn't live by fear out of the valley. So why would I get afraid in the valley? Y'all ain't getting this. Y'all ain't blessing it. I mean, I ain't never seen so many, church folk, religious people that's so spooked out by everything. Afraid of everything. David would have you to understand that even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I choose not to be afraid. As evidenced by the fact that not only I'm going through the valley, but I ain't even in no hurry to get out of it. Y'all didn't catch it. Y'all didn't get it. He says, for yea, though I walk. A whole lot of folk think that you got to run. You got to zigzag. You got to jump. You got to catch a ride. Nowadays, if we had remote control, we would just deal with our valley experiences by way of remote. But David says, listen, there's nothing remote about this. He says, yea, though I walk. Y'all might be all excited and in a hurry and think that you got to run, and you sitting there trying to push your remote and turbocharge and overdrive, and we got to hurry up and get out of here. David said, I'm just walking. And I'm not afraid because thou art with me. Anybody here know that he's with you? Come on, my time is up here today, but he's with us. So now let me give you this so that we can get you on that. So there is to be reserved reputation. The reputation is his. And I just believe that in the framework of our humanity, if he says that his reputation is reserved, we ought to work hard to make sure his reputation is preserved. I mean, 'cause that's just me. Come on, talk to me, somebody. That's just me. I'm saying, from his perspective, he's saying that when I extend myself to you, my reputation is reserved. But when you come back to me and on your pilgrimage, make sure you put in some efforts to preserve his reputation. Y'all stop letting the world misrepresent who my creator is. Talk to me here, somebody. You stop allowing those to take credit for what the creator has done. Are you listening to me? My healing, my deliverance didn't happen because the CDC decided to get together. My healing and my deliverance happened because my creator stays together. And he extends himself. It just so happened that there are groups who want to jump on it and try to take credit. Y'all looking at me like I'm making this stuff up. Don't you remember the Lord reminding his people, didn't I tell you that there is a balm in Gilead? I've already created it. I've already made it. Long before there was a CDC, long before there was a WHO, long before there was a JAMA. Talk to me, somebody. The Creator would have you to know that I already made available that which is going to save and soothe your soul. So preserve his reputation. Thank you, CDC, but you didn't do that. Thank you, government, for highlighting it, but it didn't come from you. Let's get you on out of here. So it is reserved reputation. But nextly, when it comes to the organized crime division and organized crime units who are against the expression of the Father, they are trying to destroy, and they are against the relationship of his representation. Relationship of his representation. Notice, if you will, look at the scripture. Let's speed this up. Let's get you on down the road. Notice, if you will, verse number 7 says, thou, somebody say thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Notice, everybody look at it. Where you show up in prologue in verse number 7. That's thou. You show up again at the point of thy God. Y'all see that? Thou, that's you. And then you show up again at thy God. That's you again. That's you in relating to the one who is creator. But my point being is that look at the only thing that's separating you from prologue and what happens between you getting to the next stage of you showing up in this epic excursion. The only thing that's in between there is his name. The only thing that not only ushers you to the promotion of you, and that also keeps you from the damnation of you, is his name. You keep looking at it, you'll get it. I mean, the only thing between where you start and where you could potentially end is his name. Is his name. He says, thou, somebody say thou. He says, thy God, that's you. Somebody say thy God, that means my God. The only thing that prevents that from being disaster and presents it as being promotion is his name. For it says, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Now you need to understand, as he's speaking specifically and directly, and it'll kind of help you to understand this, he's speaking directly to the Israelites. He's speaking directly to the children of Israel. Notice, if you will, that the children of Israel would have already known his name. They would have known his name. We're just now wrestling and trying to come around, you know, is it tetragrammaton? Are there any vowel points? And you know, is it this, that, or the other? But they would have known his name because they've had a long-standing history with him, his name. In fact, they recognize that we don't exist apart from who he is. So when he says, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord, remember, Lord is not his name. We're talking about his title. God is not his name. It is a title. Come on, talk to me here, somebody. He said, but the fact that he is Lord, meaning that he is master over my life, that he rules over my life, that he's in control over my life, shares with me the importance of the relationship. See, Lord really emphasizes that not only is he who he says he is, but I relate to him as he truly is. Did you all get that? See, he's Lord, meaning that he's over you. He's master over your lives. I brought you there so that I can bring you here. The point is that there is organized crime to make sure to bring damage, disaster, if not destruction, to the relationship. See, the organized crime, those who hate the Creator want to make sure that you don't have a relationship with him. They want to make sure that your relationship with him is so porous, is so weakened, is so perverted until the last thing you're going to trust is that he is your master. The last thing you're going to trust is that he is over you. So they work hard to make sure that the relationship is damaged, so much so until you start walking around here making idiotic statements. Talking about, I'm living my truth. It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense when you invite the Creator and when you know that the Creator is on the scene. For when you know that the Creator is on the scene, you understand there is but one truth. And it does not belong to you to shape it, to chisel it, to make it palatable for where you are and comfortable for your coffers. So he says, understand that the enemy wants to come against the relationship. How many of you know, before we leave here today, how many of you know that now I understand, Pastor, what's really been going on, because the enemy works really hard to damage the relationship. But no matter what he does, he's still going to be Lord in my life. No matter what he does, he's still going to be master in my life. He's still going to control all of my life. He's still going to reign supreme in my life. He's still going to be the most high. He's still going to be above and not beneath. Talk to me, somebody. He's still in control. And I'm not going to give in to all of the trickery that tries to damage our relationship. Come on now, y'all ought to get that, because you know what happens. You know what happens. I mean, just look at it like this way. So, there are those. How many of you have had people, even though you've been blessed to find the love of your life, and you loving friends, and you love one another, and you enjoy one another's company? It won't be long before somebody shows up. Come on now, do I have to break it down this? It ain't gonna be long before somebody shows up to try to bring damage to that, because the enemy, literally, as we shared with you before, hates anything and everything that gives glory to the Creator. They hate that. They hate that. How you gonna be friends and good friends? Come on, talk to me, somebody. How you gonna be friends with her? I wish I had somebody here. How y'all friendship gonna last this long? I mean, you must not know everything about her. How you gonna be married to him? And be married to him as long as you've been married to him? How you gonna claim to love him? You must not know what I know about him. That's when you stand up and say, baby, yes, I do. I know everything about him. That's why I love him, because I realize that just like he got issues, I got issues. We both got issues, and we look beyond our issues, just like our Creator looked beyond our faults and saw and supplied our need. So let's quit tripping. We ain't even gonna trip on all this. So you can go and take that to somebody that don't know any better. I wish I had somebody here. You tell that to somebody that don't know anybody inside. You start listening to outsiders and people and stuff, and you start seeing your loved one differently. Well, maybe they're not who I thought they were. Well, a lot of folk guys, neither are you. Come on now. But that ain't stopped us from enjoying and engaging the gifting of life. And as God has given us the opportunity to fellowship laterally with one another, because we are fueled and funded vertically with the Creator, let's stop tripping over who's better than one another. Thank the Lord that he's already demonstrated that he is Lord over our lives. And if he's willing to put up with me, the least I should be able to do is be willing to give you another chance. Be able to give you I'm willing to give you another chance. So you share with one another and say, like, look, we're going to get rid of all these outside voices, all these outside influences. Go on ahead and enjoy one another. Come on, talk to me here, somebody. Get to your place, your happy place, your joyous place, and remind them. If you got to remind each other, now you know you was tripping, right? You know you were wrong, right? And the response ought to be, I know, but you know you was wrong too. You know you was tripping too. I know I was tripping too. That's why we all got our baggage, we got our luggage. Wherever we tripping, we're going to trip together. I wish I had somebody that was understanding it. Let's just trip together. Where we going, we go. Wheresoever we go, we going together. Because of the relationship. Y'all out there? Let's close it out on this. Now y'all watch. Y'all gonna see it. It'll come up on Facebook. It'll come up. Somebody gonna act like they done got some great revelation. And see, and they'll teach it, they'll preach it, they'll have a podcast, and they'll get thousands, if not a few millions of followers. Check it out. Last but not least, in this text, it shares that there is organized crime, not only against his reserved reputation, not only against the relationship of representation, but there is organized crime against the reality of repercussions. There is organized crime to make you think that our God does not pose any repercussions for the crimes that you commit against him. He says at the conclusion of verse number 7, and we're done. I've held you. No, I haven't held you too long. He says, once again, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember, the word vain means emptiness. And there is an element of profaning or profanity, profaning his name, which means it speaks to making his name, making his reputation, making who he is, making it common. Reducing him to being common. When you talk around and talking about, I talk to him just like I talk to my boo, my BFF. Don't you ever forget that he's never on that level. And you never profane, meaning that you make it common, that you make his name common, or that you pervert who he is. Everything that is associated with his name ought to always be reverenced, ought to always be held in the highest of esteem. Are you listening to me? Jesus teaches when he gives in the parental prayer, he says, when you pray, since you want to interrupt my sermon, since you want to interrupt my messages, since you know so much about how you ought to pray, he said, let me help you out. You religious folk, when you pray, pray as this: Our Father, which art in heaven, here it is, hallowed be thy name. You want to make sure that his name is always reverenced. His name is always held in the highest of esteem. You don't ever profane his name. You never make him and his reputation and his representation, his fame, you never make it common. Sometimes I look with so much hurt and even disdain, just listening to and looking at what some of our people are doing in his name. What some preachers, what some pastors dare to do in his name. You don't ever profane his name simply because you try once again to get the next hit. You want to move up on the top 20 chart. So much so until you will say anything and associate anything with his name. I wish I had somebody here. And don't take seriously the opportunities that he's making available to you to bring and extend himself out into the world. Yet you'll just say and do anything so that people will be able to applaud you. There are repercussions. The crime unit would have you to think that you can do whatever you want to do and there will be no fallout. We're seeing that in our world now. We're seeing that in our cities. Because many of those who are perpetrating and committing the crimes just genuinely believe that there are no consequences. I don't know about you all. We wrap it up here, but I'm not that I'm so much better than anybody else, but there are some things, listen here, I know I will not do. And there are some things that we don't even entertain, not because we don't possess the propensity to entertain them or the propensity to go there, but even if we thought it, we learned early on that there were consequences. Gee, I wish I had somebody else. You learned early on. And see, we were fortunate, and praise be unto God, to be able to be raised up in an era, in a time where parents didn't mind being parents. And they took their assignment seriously. Can I get a witness here? So much so until you just couldn't do whatever you thought you were big, bad, and grown enough to do. But they will remind you that there are some consequences. Can I get a witness here? Come on. Most of us that are halfway adjusted, let alone well adjusted, you got there because you figured out early on in life that there are consequences to everything that you do. Some of y'all, I know some of y'all right now, y'all feeling that, ooh-wee. Some of y'all want chew gum in church right now. I wish I had somebody here, because you know there's some consequences. Can I get a witness here? You won't wear your hat if you're a man. You don't wear your hat inside of a house, because you know there were consequences. I look at some of this, what we call church now. Ooh, my goodness. I mean, even if you had some perversions going on, you had sense enough to keep it on the down low, because you knew there were consequences. Nowadays, we not only, we got a right to our perversions, and we want to promote it. We want to advertise it, and you're wrong. Something wrong with you if you don't not only allow me opportunity to advertise my perversion, but if you don't subscribe to and you don't fund and fuel and promote my perversions. This word says the exact opposite. It says, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Just because something ain't happened right now don't mean that you've gotten away. I wish I had somebody here. Just because it didn't happen today doesn't mean that God is asleep on the job, that he's asleep on the wheel, at the wheel. He says, I will not hold him guiltless. Those who profane my name, who take my name in emptiness, who think that you can just say and do anything to me in my name and think that he's not going to respond. So as we make ready to leave you here today, we encourage you to make sure that your expression of the Father is such that you will commit every ounce of the inventory that has been made available to you to promote his name. Promote his name. Not pervert, not profane, but promote his name. Come on, somebody, right where you are. If you're going to promote his name, give him glory and honor, and remind everybody around you that I'm here to promote his name. I'll make sure to preserve his reputation. I'll make sure that his fame won't ever go unnoticed. Don't nobody else talk about him. You make sure you talk. And make sure you give the accurate story. Make sure you give the concise story. You make sure that the picture is in high resolution and high definition. You make sure that everyone around you knows that you are committed to the relationship that you have with the Creator. And that you won't ever profane his name. Come on, put those hands together and let's bless the name. Come on, let's bless the name of our God. To God is and continues to be the glory. Oh, we bless his name and we honor him in all things. In all things. To God be the glory. I'm so thankful and grateful that you have been blessed by the Lord to witness what he is speaking, to witness what he is giving. Will you take that witness? Will you take that inventory and make sure that it is promoted, that it is shared in ways that's going to not only glorify him, but that will bring defeat to the organized crime unit. One last time, let's bless him. Let's bless him. Let's bless him. Let's bless him. Praise be unto God. All right, Kimani, you can take me on now.